Though we often seem to envisage Martin Luther with hammer and nails, it was in fact the Bible that he saw as the greatest tool, the most indispensable resource in both living the Christian life and in restoring the church. Luther was not attempting to build something new, but to restore that which had fallen into disrepair, specifically a church which was plagued by abuse. Faced with such a daunting endeavor, Luther and the reformers that followed him believed that the Christian scriptures alone would give them both the vision and the strength for this great work. One of the consequences of the idea that everyone ought to be reading the Bible rightly is that the church has a responsibility to teach people what that looks like. That definitely is an area, I think, where the contemporary church in the West is not doing a great job. Our educational programs are really not robust enough to really help people to read the Bible intelligently and well in our contemporary context. We are supposed to read the Bible literally, I think, because the idea of literal reading is just about trying to understand what the person speaking to you is saying, to respond well to what the person is saying, not to misconstrue, misunderstand. That, I think, is what literal reading involves. And I can't see why we wouldn't want to read literally if that's what we mean. Good literal reading is reading that is attentive to context. All good reading is attentive to context. And so the opposite would be reading text out of context, simply dipping in, pulling text out, not really paying attention to where they're coming from, and then making of those texts what we want to. That's poor Bible reading, and dangerous Bible reading, actually. It's a matter of knowing which story we're a part of and who stands before us in the story. The right reading of Scripture, I think, is a literal reading which pays attention to the meaning of the ordinary words on the page in their immediate contexts, and then in the context of the great story, the whole story from Genesis to Revelation. Of course, in moving to an understanding of that, we need help, typically. And looking for the help of our ancestors in the faith is a very good thing to do. Looking for the help of the church is a very good thing to do. But these are all steps on the way to that right reading. They are not replacements for it or alternatives to it. The joy of the scriptural story is its liberating capacity, its capacity through truth-telling to set us free. And my experience is that when people are exposed to the depths of it, that it's a very wonderful thing. So in terms of why we ought to read, one very obvious answer is we ought to read for our own good.